Well, things got intense in Philly last night. Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns were both ejected after a shoving match escalated into a full-on brawl. At one point, Embiid could be seen putting his thumb in Towns' eye, and later teammate Ben Simmons had his forearm around Towns' neck in a chokehold. After the game, Embiid said the incident happened out of nowhere, and since he didn't throw a punch, he does not expect to be suspended. He also said, quote, "I like to get in people's minds." Rob Parker is back with us. Rob, what is your reaction, your takeaway from this fight?
You know, there's the buzz that there's a long-standing thing going on between these two. That's what it has to be. And maybe it is the way that they look at the two people, right? Embiid is looked at a certain way in a much more positive light. And even though Cat puts up numbers, he's on a bad team that really hasn't done anything, he's kind of considered weak, right? Softer.
Yep.
And I think that there's some of that, and he feels like, I'm not going to be pushed around by Embiid. And I can see where you got two big guys, two giants. You're battling for position all the time, right, in the paint.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contact. I just think that's what it, because there was nothing from really the game that I saw where that would cause an incident like that. This has to be something that these two guys are struggling with as we go over time.
Well, I mean, I could throw out and start a rumor and say it's probably about a female, but I ain't gonna do that.
Where you gonna put that? You got some inside information?
No.
You know what? It often is.
But
Just going back to Jason Kidd and do you remember that with
Not
Dallas?
sure. I hadn't read any of that.
Jim Jackson?
I don't know.
Skip, you know, I think the thing is, this goes back, and they've been beefing a little bit. It goes back, I think, 2017. They've been kind of going back and forth on social media. And a couple of years ago, for 2 years running, Karl Anthony Towns, general managers voted overwhelmingly. If I start in the team, Karl Anthony Towns will be the guy I start my team with. Joel Embiid says, I'm the best big man in basketball. Well, the general manager says, nah, well, we still rather start our team with Karl Anthony Towns. Well, there's some, you know, for supremacy here. Joel Embiid is fundamentally sound, so is Cat. One guy's thought of being tough, the other guy's thought of being soft. And I think yesterday, Karl Anthony Towns said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm finna drop anchor here. I'm not gonna let you shove me. I'm not gonna let you jerk your arm away and throw your hands up in the air and everybody's like, man, Cat ain't do anything. So he says, you know what, enough is enough. And he stood his ground. And maybe that it's gonna take more than that. Because we talked about, Skip, yesterday, Anthony Davis playing through the shoulder surgery, soreness, because people perceive him as being soft, not being able to play through pain, not being able to play through injury. So he gutted it up, put a 40-20 in the shortest amount of time in NBA history. So I think that's what Cat's going through. But if you notice, Skip, every time Karl Anthony Towns, everybody don't call him Karl Anthony, they call him Cat. Embiid addresses him on social media as lowercase Cat.
Yeah, that's not
We're
good.
just a CAT.
That's not good.
But it's all lowercase. It's never
Right. It's not.
It's always lowercase. So he's needling him, even as he's not trying, but he's trying to. But he's, oh, you a cat, all right. You a little cat. You ain't no, because he calls himself a lion. You know, he's like, he's a lion.
Well, his IG post, I was raised around lions and a lowercase CAT pulled on me tonight. LMAO. Like he's just laughing at it, right? Okay.
If that swing would have connected, I don't know if he would have been laughing.
Correct. So Woj has just reported that the Sixers brass has told the NBA that Cat, K-A-T, was the aggressor in the fight, that he started the fight. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I saw it the other way around. They did get tangled. It was a double team, and they did steal the ball from Cat. And the score was Sixers by 20 at that point with, what was it, 6:42 left in the third quarter. 6:42. So what I saw was arms tangled, and then Joel, who thinks he just sort of psychologically and physically dominates, they're tangled, and then he gives him one of these. Like, get off me, little CAT. And that's when, that was the moment of truth for Karl Anthony Towns, because every once in a while, you just have to stand up for yourself.
You got to.
And he did. And we're not advocating Rudy Tomjanovich punches. You know, again, it wasn't really going to go anywhere, although some punches could have connected. I don't know if they were thrown with connecting conviction.
But there was a real punch in there. This wasn't like slapping and grabbing. I mean, there was a punch, and I don't. Ben Simmons, too, is down there. What is he? Now,
He headlocked him.
Cat is on the ground,
Right.
on your belly. You can't hit anybody in that position.
Right.
So what is he doing with a chokehold on?
I don't know. I thought it was a little out of line.
Yeah,
Don't you right?
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh,
Made the
yeah.
point that he should have a word with Ben before he.
Oh,
has a word.
absolutely.
I absolutely
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
When I'm down on the ground, on my stomach, and you got a chokehold on me?
Right. I'm gonna reach. If I'm Cat, I'm gonna reach out to Rich Paul. Say, hey, Rich, I need you to put me in touch with Ben. I need to, he and I need to have a conversation. Yeah, we're gonna just have a conversation, bro. Hey, don't do that.
Don't choke me. What are you doing?
Don't do that.
Ben grew up in Australia. Maybe that's how they do it in Australia. I
He
don't
thought
know.
he was what, playing
he ain't in
Australian
Australia.
rules football?
He ain't in Australia.
What was that?
You in America, and in America we don't do that.
So, in the end, I remain a big Joel Embiid fan. I picked him to be the MVP. I know it's a long shot, though Giannis has started airballing free throws. He airballed one last night, so I don't know. Maybe that's going to cost him a little stock as his stock falls. But the
And
point
they blew
is,
a 15-point lead.
yep, they did, and lost pretty convincingly
yeah.
to Boston. So the point is that Joel has dominated him, and he dominated him again last night playing basketball because he is more physical, and he's just as gifted, but he's mentally tougher. He can make his free throws. He can just take over games. He is a closer for this team. I know they don't have Jimmy Butler now,
Right.
but again, he just can't. The one thing that concerns me about him is he can't give up the antics.
No, he ain't giving it up, Skip.
That's a part of him,
Yeah,
and
he is.
you're right. He's bought into it,
Yeah.
so now he can't let it go. And I think if he were to let it go, he probably could take his game to another level.
I would agree, because his line after the game was, I like to get in people's minds. Well, the truth is, you don't really need to, because you can get right in their grill as a basketball player. You can just dunk on them.
Normally, people that did that, Skip, Dennis Rodman did a lot of that because he's going up against Karl Malone, he's going against Charles Barkley, Kevin McHale, guys that are more talented than him. So he had to do something to try to get them off their game. Well, they're not 5, 10 players in the NBA that's more talented than Joel Embiid.
Nope.
A big guy that can shoot the three, put the ball in the basket, play post-up game. You foul him, he's making 80% of his free throws. So he doesn't need to do that, but he wants to do that. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman felt he had to do that in order to get that advantage. Kind of like Romo. Romo did a lot of things because he felt he was at a disadvantage talent-wise.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid,
Yeah, you're talking about
Bill Romanowski, yes.
Yeah.
Skip, Joel Embiid is as talented as any big that we've seen in the last decade.
He is. He's more talented than Dwight Howard.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Dwight can defend, he can block shots, but he's got no real post-up game.
No.
And Dwight tried to take basketball not that seriously.
Right.
And sometimes Joel does too.
Too goofy.
Too goofy, and Joel's got a little too much goofy. And he said before the year, I'm going to stop that stuff. And here we go.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
But for him last night, he's got hashtag fight night. Like, it was a blast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm
Night.
glad. I hope he has fun when he has to give up that money to the league, because there's going to be a suspension.
Well, I tell you what he needs to do, and both guys need to pay. Everybody that ran into that frame that's going to get fined, they need to pay that fine.
They're fine.
Everyone.
And it
Yeah,
was,
because everybody go get fined for running in
I
there.
mean,
yeah, but it was very telling that in his IG post, he added Jimmy Butler because Jimmy was on the T-Wolves.
like there's something there.
Well, but you know that he brought the stories that
Right.
inside, because Jimmy had no use for the T-Wolves as a team at the end.
Because it was reported that Jimmy took the backups, and he beat Cat, and he beat Wiggins with the starters.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler in the backup.
Yeah.
And,
He was screaming at
Yeah.
the GM during practice.
and you want me to play, pay me, you want me to play with this?
Yeah.
It didn't end well. It
No,
did not
it
end
did
well.
not well.
So the 76ers remain undefeated, and it was Minnesota's first loss of the season. So they'll meet again in March. This
Look,
Cat gonna be
little
ready.
meeting, yeah.
Oh, big Cat.
El Gato.
Capitalized.
I was
Rob,
bilingual, did you?
thank you for being here
not.
today. Did the Ravens give the Patriots bulletin board material?